Good morning and thank you for joining us today. We'll start the session in a minute or two. Good morning and thank you for your patience. Welcome to the session AWS CloudFormation Infrastructure as a Code hosted by Cloud.in. I'm Suvarna Jadhav working with Cloud.in as a strategic partnership and alliance manager. For today's session, we have Ms. Rutuja as a speaker. Rutuja is working with Cloud.in as a cloud consultant and she will share an introduction and best practices for cloud formation. Additionally, she will discuss a few case studies. All attendees are muted by default and cannot be unmuted during the session. If in case you have any questions in between the session, please ask the question through the questions section. I request Rutuja to start the session. Over to you, Rutuja.
Thank you, Suvarna ma'am. Hello, hi, good morning, everyone. So today we will be walking through this webinar for a very basic understanding of what AWS CloudFormation Service is. And so let us first begin by looking at the agenda for today. Just a minute. So firstly, we will be looking at, we will have a basic introduction of what AWS CloudFormation service is, and we look into some key concepts of the service. Next, we will be understanding of, next we'll understand of how we can, like how a beginner can get started with this service. Later, we will understand when should we use this AWS CloudFormation service in our infrastructure with some of its best practices that we can adhere while using it. And lastly, we will have a use case to get to know the service better. So let's move on and look into the introduction. So basically, AWS CloudFormation is a powerful infrastructure as code service, as AWS has defined it. It is offered by Amazon Web Services, and it enables the users that are using it to define and provision AWS infrastructure and the resources in a very predictable and automated manner. So using the templates that you define in this service. So these templates are written in, you can write these templates in two languages. One is JSON and the other is YAML. So, and this describes the desired state of your infrastructure, including the compute instances, storage, networking, and other AWS resources. So the key concepts that you should keep in mind while using the AWS CloudFormation, firstly comes the templates. So CloudFormation templates are like the heart of the service. These templates are written, as I said, in JSON and YAML, and they define the AWS resources, their configurations, and any dependencies that are between them. For example, if you are launching an EC2 instance and a security group aligned to that EC2 instance, so it will also define the dependencies that you have between those resources. Also, you can create templates from scratch or use some predefined templates as starting points, or if you're a beginner, you can use the predefined templates that are there on AWS for your infrastructure. Next, we have stacks. So in CloudFormation, a stack is a collection of AWS resources that are created and managed together as a single unit. So when you deploy a CloudFormation template, it creates a stack, and stacks can be created, they can be updated, and a whole and deleted also as a whole. So the whole stack can be updated as per your updates in the templates or whatever. So you can update them as and when you want. These features of a stack makes it very easy to manage complex applications and environments that you are running using the CloudFormation templates. Next comes the resources. So resources are the AWS infrastructure components that are defined in your CloudFormation templates. So your EC2 might be an example of the resource. Uh, as I said, for example, yeah, EC2 can be an example. RDS databases, S3 buckets, and many more resources that you define using the templates of CloudFormation are the resources. So CloudFormation ensures that these resources are completely provisioned, they are updated, and according to the templates instructions, these are managed. So next we have the parameters. Basically, templates can include parameters that allow you to customize the behavior of your stack during your deployment. So parameters are basically that you have in your code, in your template, and you define these parameters in your JSON or YAML template that you have. So for example, you can specify the instance type or the key pair or a security group when you're launching an EC2 instance. So these components, that is instance type, key pair, are considered as the parameters of your template. Moving on, mappings and conditions. So CloudFormation templates can include mappings to define the values based on predefined conditions. So conditions allow you to control the resources creation or configuration based on a specified criteria that you define. Next, we have the output. So you can specify outputs in your CloudFormation templates, which allow you to retrieve important information about your resource after the stack is created. This can include, for example, the public DNS name of an EC2 instance or an endpoint URL of an AWS service. So you can manage what output you want out of your CloudFormation template. So change sets, before actually making changes to an existing stack, you can create a change set. So a change set basically provides a preview of what changes will be made to the stack resources when you update it, so allowing you to review and approve those changes before applying them. So for example, you make a demo change that is like a demo. So you can check your changes, or like you have any updates to make. So you can get it checked first in your change set, and then you can apply it on the original one. The rollbacks concept in CloudFormation is actually there are like built-in rollback capabilities that CloudFormation has. So if a stack update fails by any chance, CloudFormation allows you to automatically roll back to the previous state to ensure that your infra remains in a consistent and functional state. So if you allow the rollback feature that CloudFormation gives us, you can get saved from any stack failure that you occur in future by any reasons. You can get the previous state of your stack by using the rollback feature. Versioning and history, CloudFormation actually keeps a history of these stack events, which allows you to track the changes that you've made in your infrastructure over the time. You can also create and manage different versions of templates for your stacks. So you can have a record or a report of the changes that you've made so far in your infra, in your templates, by using the versioning and history feature of CloudFormation. And lastly, we have the integration. So CloudFormation integrates seamlessly with your AWS services, and such as IAM in identity and access management, AWS CloudFlare for auditing, and CloudWatch for monitoring and logging. So the integration between these services with CloudFormation is also very seamless and intact. So let us move on and get to understand how a beginner can get started with the AWS CloudFormation service. So this process actually involves a few key steps, from creating your first CloudFormation template to deploying and managing AWS resources using that template. So let us look at these steps that we have. Firstly, you'll have to sign into your AWS console. Next, you will have to choose a region. And then when you enter the CloudFormation console dashboard, you'll have to first start using the CloudFormation. You need to create a CloudFormation template in it. You can create the templates using either a JSON or a YAML format, as I mentioned before. Here is an example of the S3 bucket resource YAML code that I have. And you can like save this template as a .json or .yaml file on your local machine. Later, you have to, later you access your CloudFormation and navigate the CloudFormation service. After that, you should create a stack. So to deploy resources that are defined in your template. So like you defined a template above in your .json or .yaml. So whatever resource that you've defined in that template, you'll have to create a stack for that in CloudFormation by clicking the create stack button that you have, and you have to click with new resources, and you have to create a new stack in the CloudFormation. If you need any upload after creating, this will complete a stack creation in your CloudFormation dashboard. you can make you should upload this template file directly, or you can provide a URL to it if it is hosted externally. You can choose the option that matches wherever your template is located. Next, you should like specify the stack details. So give your stack a name. For example, now we have created an S3 bucket with the template, so you can give it S3 bucket, and provide any necessary parameters as defined in your CloudFormation template. Parameters are, as I said, the values that you can customize while creating a stack. Later, review and create the stack. So review the stack details that you've filled in, and then if everything looks perfect, click the create stack button. The CloudFormation will start provisioning the resource as specified in your template. As you've defined the parameters and everything in your template, CloudFormation will automatically provision those parameters and create the resource. So you can monitor the progress of your stack creation in the CloudFormation console. It will show you the events and statuses as resources are being created. So you can monitor at what step your resource is being created, where is it, and what is the process going on. So you can monitor the stack creation process from your dashboard. So once the stack is completely created, you can access the AWS resource created by the CloudFormation stack. These resources will be available in your AWS account where you created the stack itself. So you can, so yeah, this will complete the process of creation of a resource using the CloudFormation stack. So you can update and delete these stacks. You can easily update your stack or by modifying the CloudFormation template and then updating the stack through the console. If you want to delete a stack, if it's associated with the resource, simply select the stack and choose delete option over there. You can easily delete the stack also. So remember that the CloudFormation, like it is a very powerful tool for managing the AWS infrastructure as code, and it's essential to test your templates and changes in a safe environment by deploying them to production. So start with simple templates first, gradually build complexity as you become more comfortable with the service. So this is a very basic and a very beginner friendly steps that I told you. You can you can use these steps for your first template creation. So moving on, let us discuss when should we use CloudFormation service. So CloudFormation service, as you all know, is a very powerful service and should be considered in various scenarios to simplify and automate the provisioning and management of the resources that are being created. So there are I've stated down some few examples in which infra or deployment type you can use this service. So firstly, if you have a repeatable deployment, so when you need to deploy the same set of AWS resources multiple times, for example, the best example for this is like if you have multiple applications and you want to host them in EC2 and you have multiple EC2 instances to be created, you can use the CloudFormation over here in this case. So CloudFormation ensures the consistency and repeatability in this case. This is a very valuable in development, testing, and staging and production environments, as I said. Next, you can use CloudFormation for complex architectures also. So it is CloudFormation is particularly useful for managing complex and multi-tier architectures also, with multiple resources, dependencies, and configurations that are created. It helps you also ensure that the resources are provisioned in a correct order. This will define the dependencies correctly that are defined in the templates. Next, we have the environment consistency type. So when you want to maintain a consistency between the development phase, the testing phase, and the provision phase of your application, you can use CloudFormation for such case. So the CloudFormation templates that you define can be used to define and deploy the identical infrastructure stacks across environments. So you can have different stacks for your production, for your testing, for your staging environments. Next, we have resource dependency management. So in AWS, resources often have dependencies on other resources. For example, an EC2 depends on a VPC and a security group, as I mentioned before. So CloudFormation handles these dependencies automatically by simplifying the resource provisioning. So you can also use CloudFormation to automate the creation of AWS resources such as EC2 instances, simple storage service, that is S3 that we just created before, and the Amazon DynamoDB tables. So CloudFormation basically provides a very declarative way, including the CloudFormation CLI, to define your AWS resources and supports several programming languages you can use to determine your templates. So moving forward, let us now look at some of the best practices that you can adhere by using CloudFormation. So the basic best practices that you should keep in mind while using AWS CloudFormation is firstly the version control. So store your CloudFormation templates in version control systems, for example, the GitHub. This ensures that you have a history of changes and you can collaborate effectively with your team members if you have any version updates or whatever. So you'll have the history or the previous state of it. Next, we have modular templates. So break down your templates into smaller reusable components. Use AWS CloudFormation stack sets or nested stacks to manage modular templates and avoid a monolithic template. So this will, if you have a very monolithic template, this will have a very high dependency on the resources that are like defined in one monolithic template. So you should prefer breaking down your templates into smaller components, also reusable, that you can reuse it again for another resource creation or anything. Use parameters. So leverage CloudFormation parameters to make your templates more flexible. Parameters allow you to pass values at stack creation time. It makes it easier to customize the deployments for different environments that you have. Also, you can use tagging. So implement tagging for your resources to help with the cost allocation, resource categorization, and management. AWS CloudFormation allows you to apply tags to resources during the stack creation itself. So this will help you with the cost allocation, which tagged resource is costing you more or costing you less. You can completely allocate with tags. Next we can, as I said, change set. So before making any changes to an existing stack, create a change set to preview the changes. As I've just mentioned this before, this will help you review and approve the change sets before applying them to your original template. And also, you can use AWS Identity Access Management Service, the roles and policies to provide secure access to your resources within your CloudFormation stack. So this will avoid the hard coding access keys or secrets in your templates that can be exposed. So you can create roles and policies with least privilege policy kept in mind. You can have roles and policies created for your CloudFormation stack. So by following these basic best practices, you can effectively use the AWS CloudFormation to automate infrastructure deployments, maintain compliance, and improve your overall infra management. So lastly, we have the use case. We have one use case for CloudFormation. So here we'll see infrastructure. This is an infrastructure automation. They've used CloudFormation as a service for this. So customer profile is actually, this is an in-house product, Cloud Shopee. It is an e-commerce platform for merchants to sell their products online on their own branded website. So the business challenge that they were facing is the customer base started increasing. The development and release teams had a tough time to release frequent new features and patches to the production. So deployments on the QA, staging, and production was manual, and there was no automation process that they had to follow. So the developers and the infrastructure engineers had to spend like 2-3 days of effort to set up the environment and deploy the code to test and move to production systems. So this was a very significant overhead from a project execution perspective that they were facing, and they couldn't go live very soon because they were having a lot of time testing and doing all of the changes. They didn't have any automation in picture. So the solution that AWS CloudFormation gave them is the team actually consolidated all the AWS accounts under one and provisioned one Amazon VPC network in each region. This allowed each region to have an isolated infra with a separate firewall, application layer, and database layer. Also, a blue-green deployment approach was used to create a parallel production environment on AWS, enabling continuous deployment and faster time to market. The complete infrastructure here was provisioned using the AWS CloudFormation. So with chief templates to deploy the front end and back end components, the developers started using Elastic Beanstalk to deploy their changes to the environment from within Visual Studio. So basically, all of these continuous deployment methods and resource provisioning was done with the CloudFormation template, which gave them a very automated version of having their infra, and they could not spend much time doing it manually every time. So the benefits that they got is they reduced in cost, they had faster time to market, and they had a very seamless production upgrade. Also, they had near zero downtime faced, and they had increased in team productivity and reduced errors in setting up new environments. So yes, here we actually come to an end to our session. I hope you all have got a very basic and beginner-friendly idea of what AWS CloudFormation is. Thank you so much. Over to you, Suvarna ma'am.
Hey, thanks, Rutuja. It was an informative session. I hope all our attendees have found it useful. So I have pasted one link here in the chat box for feedback form. We would like to get your feedback on the session to improve the experience. So request to share the feedback form. And thank you for attending the session. If you have any queries, you can type in the questions box and we'll revert you on your emails. Okay. Thank you. Thank you once again. Have a great day.